Hello everyone, it's Hockey Bros and welcome to Stanley Cup Playoffs Central. This is where I'm going to be talking about everything for the upcoming and, when it is current, the Stanley Cup Playoffs. So, this is episode 1 and we're going to be talking about who will be in the 2018 Stanley Cup Playoffs. So, first of all, I'd like to give you a kind of a time when I'm filming this. The date today that I'm currently filming this is March 29th. So, we kind of have generally what teams we know will make it or have a chance at making it. So, most teams have, 5, 6, 7 games left. So, the season's almost over, but we kind of know, we have some teams that are clinched. So, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to give any predictions today. I'm just going to say who's making the playoffs. So, as you can see, I have a lot of Ducks stuff behind me. I am a Ducks fan, but I'm going to try my hardest to make this as unbiased as possible. So, here we go, guys. I'm going to start with the Atlantic Division. The Atlantic Division, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins are the teams to look out for here. And we also have teams like Toronto. I think those will be the big three in this division. It's really going to come down to a battle in the Atlantic Division. And I think, generally speaking, I know that all those three teams can do some damage. Toronto, obviously not too experienced. They lost in the first round to the Washington Capitals last year. So I'm not gonna give you any matchups. I'm just gonna say I know Toronto should make it. Boston and Tampa are clinched. So those are the three I know will make it. Now you come down to the other teams. The wild card team in the Atlantic right now that's trying to get the spot is the Florida Panthers. And I'm going to go out here and say they're not going to get it because of the Metropolitan Division. The Metropolitan Division, their top three, I believe, are Washington, Pittsburgh, definitely not a New York team because the Rangers are having a rebuild. Sorry, I don't have my notes in front of me. I'm just going on a limb here. So we have Washington, Pittsburgh, I think Columbus is in there, and then there's New Jersey. So, and was Philadelphia in? I don't know, but anyway, the teams in the Metropolitan are going to keep teams like Florida out. And I think Florida at this point is I think they're 3 points behind New Jersey. I'm on the West Coast, so I don't look at the Eastern Conference schedule too much, but it's really going to come down to the games that both those teams are playing. Florida, as of late, has been playing pretty well, and it'd be really interesting to see them sneak into the playoffs. But it's all going to come down, like I said, to what teams are playing. If a team like New Jersey has a hard schedule, then Florida, and if Florida has like an easier schedule, they have a chance to get in. So that's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to say that it's pretty much going to stay the way it is now. So we're going to go to the Western Conference now. Hopefully I'm a little bit more knowledgeable on this side. But we're going to start with the Central Division. The Central Division this year is absolutely stacked. First, we have Nashville. Nashville this year, I did not think would be in the position they are now. A lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, how could you not have seen this coming? Well, they were the wild card. They snuck in last year. They showed their power, but I still didn't see it for some reason. I just didn't see them getting that much better. But I guess it was a confidence boost, and also picking up depth players like Nick Bonino. Who else did they get? Well, they just had their core together. Even though they lost James Neal, I was worried about that. But getting Bonino, getting Fisher out of retirement, that was a big step. Did they get Hartnell? I think they have Hartnell now. They do have Turris, correct? Because of the Duchesne trade thing. So they're looking good. They could be in the final this year as well. Then we also look, and the Blackhawks are last in the conference. That's how... conference. They're last in the division. Just shows how strong this division is. Now, if you go to the second, Winnipeg. What a season for Winnipeg. Winnipeg, we have clinched a playoff spot along with Nashville to secure that the Winnipeg Whiteout comes to the city another year, which is awesome because when I saw They played the Ducks in 2015 and were swept. Although this was a good outcome for my team, I would have wished to see Winnipeg a little bit longer if they weren't to play our Anaheim Ducks. So now we go to Minnesota, the 3rd seed. I don't believe they've clinched quite yet, but they're playing great as of late. I just saw them play last night. They beat the Dallas Stars, who were formerly the Minnesota North Stars. And that was about it. Now the wild card team from the Central is the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues just snuck into the wild card, kicking out another team I'm going to talk about, which are the Colorado Avalanche, I have one Avalanche jersey here. So I'll talk about both teams right now. The Blues, they snuck in. I didn't see it coming. They looked like they were done, but nope, here they are. Vladimir Tarasenko, Jake Allen, they've actually been playing Carter Hutton lately. He has a really good save percentage. So the Blues are always a team to look out for with their elite status. You have to look at the players that they have. They did trade Stastny at the deadline, but obviously they still have great defense. Pietrangelo, people like that, amazingness. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the Colorado Avalanche. What a turnaround. This season has been an amazing season of turnarounds and redemption. These guys with this jersey were last in the league last year. Last place. And this season, they are contested, and I believe they will get their playoff spot back. I think that if St. Louis, I don't have my notes, but it's going to come down to the teams that they're playing. I think this team has the power to be in the playoffs this year, and I think that they will. I'm just going to go out and say that. So I don't think that St. Louis is going to stay. I believe that this team, Nathan McKinnon is playing amazing. Their goalies, Bernier was so good. When they were going through those issues with Varlamov, Bernier kept them in, and that's one reason they're in the playoffs. Nathan McKinnon, amazing. They have a lot of younger players. They traded out older players like Iginla and what was the other guy? Boschman, to just name a few. They traded out their older players for younger talents, which is working. And not only that, remember when they traded Matt Duchene? Patrick Waugh got a full load of prospects. So many. So they're going to be a team to look out for in the next 10 years just because of that. McKinnon's not that old. They have all these prospects. I think they're going to be pretty good. So next, I'm going to go with the teams in the Pacific Division, and then I'm going to talk about the teams that had maybe a disappointing season and are pretty definite no's to even be in contention for a spot. Pacific Division, first place, the story of the whole entire season, the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'm also going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers right now because I thought the Oilers could be in the same position that the Knights were. They flip-flopped. I thought Vegas would have a similar record to what the Oilers are having this season, and I thought the Oilers would have a similar record to what the Vegas Golden Knights are having right now. So they almost flip-flopped in my mind. But focus here, the Golden Knights. Can they go into a playoff series and win against, say, a California team or let's just look at, because we know they're going to be playing a wild card. So it's probably going to be either Anaheim, Los Angeles, Colorado, or St. Louis. I don't think that they can get through one of those. Reason being, lack of playoff experience. There's maybe 2 or 3 guys with playoff games, recently. So, I just don't see it. Like I said the same thing about the regular season. I didn't think that they could do any damage either, but I don't see them winning a cup or even a series. I'm going to be completely honest. The Pacific Division, the 2 teams that I would look out for right now would probably be San Jose, and maybe I would say I kind of give I think San Jose, you got to look out for them. I've seen them this season. They have a lot of scoring power, pretty good goaltending between Jones and Dale, but I'm going to say that they're more powerful than the 2 other California teams right now, the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings. Now, as of late, both teams have been around the same, lose 1, win 2 more. They're winning enough to be in contention. I think what's keeping Anaheim in this is the overtime losses, which is kind of unfortunate because you know that they could get 13 extra points if they just won those overtime games. They could be ahead of the Golden Knights. So here's the problem. You look at a team like Los Angeles, Anaheim. They play similar game styles. They're both hard-hitting, gritty California teams. We all know the term the California team. And you'll see the Kings have Drew Doughty, a lot of good defensemen. They got Deanne Phaneuf at the deadline for Marian Gaborik, and Nate Thompson came over with the Phaneuf trade. And they're both putting up some numbers pretty good. So I will say LA was better now than before the deadline. Well, actually, that Deanne Phaneuf trade was the first. They never made any deadline day stuff. I think they did. The closest to the deadline they got was a Kemper, a Wedgwood, and who was the other one? Reeder. I'm forgetting who the other guy was. But whatever. They made a goalie trade. They traded their backup Kemper, which I think will hurt them. Kemper was pretty good. Campbell is an unproven AHL starter who is now going to be playing an NHL backup. I saw Campbell play myself during the San Diego Gulls and Ontario Reign AHL game between the two affiliates, and Campbell was not that good. So it is an interesting thing, but as of late, Campbell has played a couple games, and he's not been bad. So who knows what that's about. So basically, between the two California teams, the one that has the most likelihood to make the playoffs is the Los Angeles Kings. You'll see all this stuff behind me, but I'm looking at the things that are on the ice. If you look at the Ducks, they don't seem like they want to be in the playoffs. They played Vancouver the other day, and they did not play well. They just weren't focused. It didn't seem like, and you kind of look at the coach, like, get these guys in game mode, right? And the confidence wasn't there. They're coming back home tonight to play the Kings. This is gonna be the battle. If the Ducks win tonight, I believe that they can be in the playoffs. Not a lock-in, but they have a chance. If they can't win tonight, I'm not sure if I see it. I think Colorado would pass them and could knock them out, because they're also playing tonight. It's the 30th, excuse me. I said the 29th at the beginning of the episode. So, honestly, one of the more important games in the Pacific Division tonight is the Ducks and Kings. Both in contention for a spot, both within reach of each other's point totals. And really, what I see it coming down to is if both make the playoffs. Let's just say both do. Which one can go farther? I think Anaheim can do the damage if they get there. I don't think the LA Kings are going to go as far. If both teams make the playoffs, I think the Ducks will go farther. Because Anaheim can do some damage in the playoffs, and we've seen this over and over again. They crushed the Oilers, and the Oilers have not been the same since. Even with Connor McDavid a year older, another season under his belt, they're still they haven't been there since then. The Ducks can do some damage. You can say whatever you want about whether that goal that with Kessler holding the pad or whatever. You can say whatever you want about that goal, but that series is done and the Oilers are not the same. So anyway, I don't know if LA can do that same damage, but it's going to be pretty close. They play pretty similar lately. I think it'll be a real good battle tonight, and excited to watch it. So anyway, guys, that kind of brings me to the end of this Pacific Division thing. The next team behind the Ducks in the Pacific Division is probably Calgary, and I think Calgary's done. So there's not really much to talk about there. Now, the one team I did leave out in the wild card race was the Dallas Stars. They lost to the Minnesota Wild lately. I think that they're in a similar position. I don't think Dallas can come back. I think that they're also done. Let me talk about the teams that have a spark of hope for next season. Those two, Arizona, Buffalo, and Edmonton, I'll talk about. It's maybe Florida. Arizona, as of late, has been like 5-4-1, maybe. Which is not terrible for a team that was like the worst. I don't believe that they're the worst in the league now. I believe that is Buffalo. Now, I'm not saying that Arizona has a chance to make the playoffs next year. Not at all. I don't think that they do. But I think that Arizona has a little bit of hope to know that they're playing a little bit better. And I've seen this team. They're young, they're fast, they're hungry. They just have to work out the kinks, and they would be a pretty good team. And watching Keller this year, just tearing it up as a rookie, I think that that's a burst of confidence for them. That they have someone who he's not quite a superstar yet, but you know he can score. Anyway, I think they have some hope behind Clayton Keller, and you know, not in that scoring sense that they have someone who they can rely on to score goals. But also, the Buffalo Sabres have Jack Eichel, who has always, in my mind, been a superstar in development. If he played on a better team, would he be better? Absolutely. But that's just what you kind of have to go through. Eichel is definitely not a McDavid, but, you know, he was the next guy picked. And I think he's really good. I mean, he shows really good, you know, development, but he's just not on a team that can perform yet. But the Sabres, I mean, they have that development behind them. Same thing with the Oilers. I mean, everyone thought that they would be like that this year, and it seemed like a lot of people were wrong, and they didn't make the playoffs and nowhere near it. But they have some hope, and now I'm actually going to talk about the Oilers. The Oilers, if you have Connor McDavid on your team, you're not the worst team in the league. They're not at that point where they need to talk about firing GMs and stuff. They need to do a rebuild around McDavid, because obviously this group isn't working, and they're going to need to. I think they're going to be forced to, because they're not going to be able to afford, you know, the players that they have on their team right now. McDavid's new contract kicks in next year, which is really going to put them up against the cap, especially with Draisaitl's contract. They're going to be stuck. I don't believe that they're going to be contenders in the near future because of these two contracts. They can't afford anybody. I think Talbot has to stay. I mean, he hasn't been playing great lately either, but who else can you afford? They loaded up on these guys. Same thing with Lucic. Lucic's contract is not, you know, it's not team friendly. And it's not gonna help, because they just can't afford anybody. So they're up against the cap, and I'm sure that the cap will probably rise a little bit next season. But I just don't see it helping them. And honestly, that's gonna haunt the Oilers fans for the next decade. It's the cap. Same thing with Detroit. Detroit is still up against the cap, and they're still not winning. So that's a really sad situation for a team, and it's really hard to go through. But I hope every team the best of luck, because before I'm an Anaheim Ducks fan or any other team fan, I'm a hockey fan, and I want the league to be exciting to watch, and just an overall, like, peaceful thing. Like, why do we watch hockey? Because it's fun to watch. It's entertaining, right? I mean, it's fun to follow it because it's unexpected. It's high energy. If we had one team, like, imagine if it were like basketball. The Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers every year. Wouldn't that get boring? Right? I mean, it's great to have competition. Although I would love to see another team other than Pittsburgh. But luckily, we've had other teams facing them. So it's not like a whole... Like, the dynasty things in hockey aren't like 5 years in a row. It was the only, repeat in the salary cap era. So obviously, it's a little bit more exciting than the NBA. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for more vlog, hockey content, and more. To stay up to date with the Stanley Cup Playoffs, turn on your notifications, because I will be uploading a video every so often. When probably the next video will be start of the first round. So thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, guys. Share your opinions in the comments, and that's how you do it. Hockey Bro style. See you next one. Peace out.